everybody, and welcome to another episode of Adventures in HellwQrld. I am Mike Rains, aka Poker and Politics, and I am joined as always by Sarge.
Hi, from the internet.
And the mysterious L.
Oh, hey there, my beautiful babies.
The throaty, raspy L this week.
Hey, you want to buy some cigarettes out of my truck?
Hey there, kids.
Oh no!
Yeah,
oh,
I was
no.
not going to the kids part. Like, if you're gonna do that sort of voice, I feel like you should.
It's just
shy away from
implied.
it. Well, I mean, are you selling cigarettes to kids out of your truck? I even went for truck instead of van to try to avoid that correlation. But you just, yeah.
Yeah. Sarge just takes everything to dark places. That's just the way Sarge operates. So yes.
Yeah. Sarge's mind is like a dark labyrinth with a horrible minotaur at the center.
Can you have a good minotaur in the center, like just a friendly minotaur? It's like, hey, a left that way, and a right, and you're out of this shit. It's
Yeah,
not that bad.
have you ever seen that movie, Your Highness? That minotaur is very, very friendly.
I don't think I've seen that. So
it gets a huge slimy erection. So
now I remember it. Yeah, now I remember it. I think we actually saw that in the theater like a million years ago.
Maybe, or it could just be your photographic memory for huge erections, like coming.
That also,
like, you're like, oh right, I saw that boner on the internet one time. So.
Yes, I what is that new? Eidetic. That's the new term for photographic memory. I have an eidetic in memory of penises. I'm just obsessed with them. And speaking of weird obsessions and stuff like that, we go into these bad places and have to post a content warning, as it were.
Content warning: the Adventures in HellwQrld podcast talks in depth about QAnon, which means we have to talk about all kinds of child abuse and violence against people. Listener discretion advised.
So
I don't know if it was just on my end, but like when you started that clip, like there was a little bit of like I don't know if it was just slow down at the beginning, but the end result of it was it sounded like content warning. And I was just like, ooh, extra Bostonian content warning. There's like fucking content warning. Hey, you're gonna hear some fucked up shit in this podcast, so grab a Dunkies and just sit down and strap in because it's gonna get pretty fucking crazy.
It's gonna be wicked fucking weird, kid.
Yeah, you don't even know.
You don't even know. For the past month, I'm not even joking, the content warning for me has been incredibly slow for the first half, and then Alvin and the Chipmunks for the second half. It's so weird, and I just roll with it because no one ever hears it but me. So
I mean, it's been a while, but the content warning is back in style.
Yes,
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So, I think that we've had enough talk about our technical issues and audio difficulties.
Required by law to sing that anytime anyone says that phrase.
Yeah. So, let's get into the headlines.
From the digital headlines to the digital front lines, it's Q's in the news.
So one of the fun things that people have always talked about from the quote-unquote like anti-Trump people who are like, hey, Trump wasn't really doing a coup. There wasn't any like bad stuff going on. He would just file some meaningless lawsuits, exploring his legal possibilities of staying in office if the election was fishy or something. And then this week we had literally a 6-point memo from Trump lawyer John Eastman that was just like, here's how Mike Pence could give Donald Trump the presidency on January 6th. Like, just literally throw some electors out from some states we don't like, then declare that the number of electoral votes to win is this number, and that Trump meets that number and Biden doesn't. And if the liberal whiners say that isn't cool, then fine. We'll say that no one got the 270. Now it goes to the House Representatives. Republicans control 26 delegations to the House. Democrats control 24. So boom, the Republicans vote for Trump. Trump wins. Get fucked, liberals. You lose. We rule. And so we actually now have like a real piece of paper from the Trump inner circle that literally is, this is how we were going to steal the election. This was actually the plan to keep Trump in power on January 6th.
It's their version of that OJ book, If I Did It, Here's How.
Yes.
Man, that memo sounds fucking wild. It was just like, well, first of all, ignore this part we don't like. And then it all started with change the Constitution and like just change how things work. We don't like how they work, so change them.
You know, weirdly, what this memo sounds like to me is proof of some sort of election fraud. Which, again, I can't stress enough. Republicans have failed to like dig up, despite all of their posturing and attempts to find it, like on behalf of Joe Biden. But here are people like actually sending out memos to Trump and Pence and the boys, just being like, here's how we could usurp the government. And it's just like, well, I'm sure all these proud MAGA idiots are just fine with that because they like, well, yeah, we're perfectly fine with fucking lighting the Constitution on fire if our boy wins.
Yeah, literally, what this guy was saying was a QAnon argument that the vice president basically has all the power in the world when it comes to accepting or rejecting electoral votes, and that when he got to Arizona, he was going to be like, we got Trump electors and we got Biden electors, so I'm really not sure about those. And then at the end of the election, he would declare that there were 7 different states that were not great, and therefore he was going to remove all of those. And for some reason, they were really obsessed with this guy, Lawrence Tribe, who they list as a Harvard law professor, and that eventually by pairing off those like 7 bad states that we would get to
7 states.
Yep.
They just had to. Okay. Well, we have to not count almost a fifth of America. Yeah. And what 7 whole fucking states. We can't count these 7. Those 7, number 1, out. What do you know what the 7 are? I assume California.
I'm pretty sure that not in California. I'm pretty sure it's just like the 7 battleground states that they can that
makes more sense.
So it's
we can't count these 7.
Yeah, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona. What else was even in the ballpark? Nevada was in the ballpark and being contested. I would guess we're going to go whole hog here, so we might as well throw in Minnesota. And then I can't even really think of it. Oh, New Hampshire. Yeah, that would probably be the next one that was the closest thing that you could possibly do this trick with. And you shave all those down, and it ends up being Trump. You need 220 electoral votes after they're all gone, and Trump gets 232 and beats Biden, who gets 222. And then that falls back into the whole thing where I just said previously that if the Democrats are like, hey, you need 270, those are the rules. Then he goes, oh, well, no one got to 270, so now we just throw it to the House and we win anyways. Suckers. So they just have, this is just absolutely Calvin Ball nonsense where you're just making up the rules to make your guy win no matter what. It's so ridiculous that we actually have a document written by someone. And again, this isn't that fucking book Peril, the book that apparently we had to wait for to find out that General Miley was like, oh yeah, by the way, Trump was insane, so I wouldn't let him nuke China. So this is like apparently the most important book in the history of the world. Everyone was just putting all the good shit to Woodward to publish a year after the fact. And it's like, maybe, I don't know.
Fuck all these idiots. And it's just not like they did some stuff in the moment, but they didn't say anything in the moment. They waited until they could make money on those book deals after.
Right. And it's fucking ridiculous that the fate of American democracy hangs in the balance. And you're like, hey, Bobby Woodward, I'll give you a juicy quote for your book if you sit on it. And Woodward's like, yeah, you got it, boss. No problem. Oh, you have a memo explaining the outline of your fucking coup? Great. Sounds good. I'll wait until September to fucking let anyone know about it. It's so ridiculous that this is how we're finding out how chaotic and messed up everything was around January 6th and all the frantic efforts of the Trump White House to keep power, even though they lost.
Yeah, I'd like to, I'm sure that we have some especially woke listeners who think that they're like too evolved to cut people out of their life because of their political beliefs. But I mean, at this point, like if you're still friends with people that support Donald Trump, like this is the sort of thing that you were like like being willfully ignorant to. Like you're just turning a blind eye while they support like actually undermining the democracy of the country you live in. So I really hope that barbecue with the way they tell their funny anecdotes about their pickup trucks is worth it.
What I'm wondering about all of this is how these people, John Eastman and company, how they will feel about Vice President Kamala Harris declaring herself Empress for life on January 6th, 2025, when she certifies the electoral vote. And then she's just like, these 7 states displease me. They're gone. Oh, yeah, Joe Biden also displeases me. He is gone. I am now your queen. I now rule America in perpetuity, and I will not be appointing a new vice president because apparently the vice presidency is the most powerful office in the history of the world because it singularly determines who our president is.
Yeah, they didn't think about giving the playbook to the other team, did they? I'm still laughing in my head about like all right. Number one, we don't count 7 entire states. I'll be laughing about that for the rest of the episode. Holy shit!
Yeah, I mean, what
play from here on out.
Conservatives, you don't think that us libs would like there are like a dozen states that I would just like to ignore the existence of and like just vote out of the country if I could. Like, do we really need an Alabama? No. Do we need a Texas? No. They've got their own power grid. Fuck them. Like, cut them loose. Let's trim America down to a tight 40.
Yeah, I think both the Dakotas can just be one state again. I'm all
about Team One Dakota. We can make Dakota the world's largest, most massive state. It could just be like North and South Dakota, fucking Wyoming, pretty much anything that borders any Dakota just becomes one Dakota.
Yeah, the Northern Territory.
And they'll be like, the 2 million people that live in this 30% of the country really want it to be this way. It's like, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares about your tiny 2 million people.
Yeah. We just take that giant red column from North Dakota to Texas, which is like North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma. They're just bam. That's just a column. It's now just one state, and then we also just merge Wyoming and Montana into it. Just bam. There you go. You all are now just one. You get 2 senators for the whole thing, and if Texas is mad about it, guess what? California says hi. They know how you feel. So, I mean...
we could just Hunger Games style it. 13 districts. Just everybody... There's 13 districts. Boom.
If there's anything I want in my life, it's more Hunger Games, because that was such a well-written and incredibly awesome piece of literature.
If you look at their districts, I think you are describing the Hunger Game districts.
Oh, I retract everything I just said. I never want to be associated with that.
I thought he had just been referencing racist places. I was just like Texas and like Kansas and Nebraska. I was like, what do all these things have? Oh, they don't like brown people. I see. They could be the one Dakota under bigotry with racism and Second Amendment for all.
Yeah. So District 11 is Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, North and South Virginia, West Virginia, Virginia. Yeah, there you go. You District 2.
How the fuck did you know that?
I pulled up a map.
Oh God.
Oh, okay. I thought you were reading from like a Hunger Games wiki. I was just like, what the fuck? I thought you were telling me that in the actual Hunger Games, those states made up a district, and I was just like, and I would have believed you because I think the Hunger Games movie sucked, so I never read the book, so I don't know if that's set on actual Earth or fictional Earth or whatever.
Yeah. What that reminded me of is the fact that there was an announcement that they're going to be resettling like 75 Afghan refugees into Montana, and some Montana congressman named like Matt Rosendale was like, "No goddamn way! Over my cold dead body, are you going to put 75 Afghan refugees in Montana?"
What he said was they would be a danger to Montana, and then they asked him, Congressman, how would these 75 Afghanistan refugees be a danger? And he did shrug emoji. I don't know. He didn't expect the comeback question of how would they be a danger?
Yeah, I mean, they never do because they just need to express their bigotry, outrage, to fire up their base, and then when pressured on the issue, they clam up because they need to continue to be able to have a career in politics, so they can't just be like, I just don't like Muslims. Period. Like, fuck them. Like,
Yeah.
Those people could pray to Allah, and I think Allah sucks. So fuck those guys.
Yeah, and then when you explain to them that Allah is just Arabic for God, they're just like, well, I don't want my God to have a funny name. And it's like, they're literally saying God in their own language, you dum-dum. And they just can't wrap their heads around it. They just absolutely can't square that circle.
Yeah, don't tell them about the God of Abraham.
Oh, one day I was dealing the Pokertrons, and a guy was getting ready to buy more chips, and he pulled out some money, and of course on American money it says "In God We Trust" on it, and another guy like looked at the money and grumped and said, "Soon it'll say on the money, in Allah we trust." And I just looked at him and I'm like, Allah means God in Arabic, and the guy just had no reaction to me. He was just like, nope, it's a bad word and I don't like it. It makes me angry, so I'm gonna get angry about it. And I was like, okay, you got it. I mean, it's just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's just like, I just don't get how you can be so ignorant about the world around you all the time and just live in like just this constant perpetual anger about everything.
Because they're white, and all the people they know are white, and all the people they wish to ever know are white. And when you confront them with brown people or cultures from elsewhere, like these are people that think that like the burritos that they get at like, you know, Chipotle or whatever are like authentic representations of some ethnic cuisine. They just have no fucking idea what's going on outside of their borders. It's insane.
Speaking of angry white people that don't know what's going on outside of their borders, Mr. Lindell, apparently, of My Pillow, went to Alabama. That who I'm segueing to there, you the listener get to decide. So there you go.
So Mike Lindell was met with the Secretary of State of Alabama, who did a grip and grin and had a bunch of photos of Mike Lindell. It was just like, just had a great talk with Mike Lindell about securing elections in Alabama. And I just wonder, like, when you are a elected official in America, did you ever think that there was going to come a day that you were going to be stuck like having Mike Lindell harassing you about your voter fraud like protocols and how you try to keep things on the up and up so that no people who shouldn't be voting, read non-whites, are like sneaking their ways into your elections? Yeah. John Merrill has a bunch of photos of him hanging out with Mike Lindell in front of a lot of busts of presidents hanging out with flags in the background. And it's just like, oh my God, like, I just can't imagine having like a lunch power meeting with like your staff and everybody, and the My Pillow guy just dips in. It's like, hey guys, time to listen to all of you talking the good old talky talk about the voting fraud. And
yeah, I mean, I feel like in the majority of alternate dimensions, like having like as a legislator or whatever, somebody with actual power in a government, having to meet with Mike Lindell for any reason is like the equivalent of landing on Celebrity Big Brother. Like you know that your career has taken a dark turn, and it's probably sunsetting. You're just like, really? I have to talk to fucking the My Pillow guy about like politics and policy? Why? He makes pillows. That's what he does.
He makes pillows and towels and like beds. And he can't even go on Fox News anymore because he is so liable. He's just a walking lawsuit machine. And maybe he pulls well down there. Who knows? Alabama and Peru have the two highest COVID death rates at the moment. So
yeah,
I don't know. As of the time of this recording,
those poor Alabamans, my heart is bleeding for them. I feel so bad for those people in Alabama.
I mean, I feel bad for the people, but like they've been crushed by the opioid epidemic, and now their governor literally refusing on CNN to even talk about what he might do to help with this pandemic, which I believe, give it a day or two, it's about to pass the 1918 Spanish flu record. Now we have more...
you know who has to have the hardest working job in government? Whoever's in charge of the Alabama Bureau of Tourism. Can you imagine? Hey, come to Alabama. We have fucking people addicted to opioids and COVID death.
Come see our plague pit.
Yeah, come see our swampy nothing and our racism and our overflowing morgues.
What is Alabama's number one tourist destination?
I would guess it'd probably be like Alabama football if like you're just a bandwagon hopper who like didn't actually go to Alabama. You're just like, I want to root for a good football team in college. I'll just root for Alabama. They win all the time.
The number one tourist destination in Alabama is the U.S. Space and Rocket Center.
That sounds right, because that was kind of what we did in the 1960s when we were trying to get the South on board with the whole, let's beat the Russians to the moon thing. Was Lyndon Johnson was just like, well, we're obviously going to put all the real good shit in Texas, because that's where I'm from.
The National Voting Rights Museum is in Selma, Alabama. I understand why it's there, but there's some irony in that.
Yeah. What's really funny in the lunch meeting of the Secretary of State and the My Pillow guy is in the background they have like this collage, which appears to be a tribute to Robert Kennedy, and it's just like, yeah, the good citizens of Alabama would have definitely voted for RFK were he around today. I'm sure that kind of Massachusetts liberalism really resonates with the good folks of Alabama. So yeah, I can see why you would take a lot of community and solace from that leading light of the Democratic Party back in the day, as it were, that Alabama loves so much. And I also love that he had a hashtag about his meeting with Mr. Mike Lindell: easy to vote and hard to cheat. And it's like, yeah, you guys are doing everything you can to make it easy to vote, right? Yeah, you're like, here's your ID.
The National Voting Rights Museum is in Alabama because you've historically made it very hard to vote there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, your low-income housing high-rise is technically in a different district, so... And it's just like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, easy to vote. Certainly not gerrymandered. Come to Alabama, visit our Air and Space Museum or whatever. Visit our scenic highway to Tennessee, where there are actually things to look at. Good old, I mean, I feel like we could just run up the scoreboard dunking on Alabama endlessly, because I mean, if your state's crowning achievement is a college football team, then tugs on collar because the listeners can't see us. Yeah. But instead,
Yeah.
let's circle back to one of our old friends. Now, since we're in the Mike Lindell My Pillow sphere, let's talk about somebody who leaves at least half of his face on the pillow every night. Good old Melton Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah. So I've been chronicling on Twitter a lot that like Jack Posobiec, who is a low-level shithead Pizzagate promoter who literally posted a bunch of neo-Nazi references, was out there looking for that My Pillow money. But now there's a new sheriff in town, rattling his cup, looking for a few pennies to come raining down from Mike Lindell, and that's Rudy Giuliani, who actually posted a tweet that said, go to mypillow.com for great products. I just love the towels. Don't forget to use promo code Rudy for extra savings.
Oh, and how can someone fall farther? Like, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
In 2001, he was literally Time's Man of the Year. He was America's mayor. He was the guy that was like our rock after 9/11 because George W. Bush was like peeing himself in the corner and like sobbing and crying for 10 hours before they finally...
He was peeing himself in the bunker, sir? Maybe the corner of the bunker, but he was in the bunker.
Right, yes. But yeah, so it's like Rudy was like our avatar in America's darkest hour in that moment, and he's gone from being that guy to being, hey, Mike Lindell, can you cut me a check if I happen to funnel some people through to your website via my Twittertrons? It's so embarrassing. It's so pathetic. And what I love more than anything beyond promo code Rudy for extra savings is that The Mike Lindell little like label on his towel is My Pillow towels that work! Exclamation point. I love the idea of that. Have you ever gotten out of the shower, began toweling yourself off, and went, "Fuck, this towel doesn't work. Where can I go to find a towel that works?"
I will say the towels that they issued me in the Army of Basic Training did not work very well. They did not work.
Well, good news if the Army could use code Rudy for big savings. Lots of sweet towels.
Can. You hear that, Army?
Yes.
You can get patriotic ugly brown towels instead of unpatriotic, not working brown towels.
Yeah, three doors down can serenade you in the shower while you towel down with a sweet My Pillow towel. You're talking about falling. You're talking about falling pretty far. I mean, man, remember when Three Doors Down was like the biggest like butt rock band on the planet, and then they just decided to tether themselves to the U.S. military and try to just like hey boys, we need you to write a new song for our recruitment videos. And it's just like, okay, cool, I guess. Three Doors Down is here to tell you to go pick up a gun and harass some brown people in a country that we have no business being in.
Are Three Doors Down super conservative now? Did I miss this?
I mean, I don't know if it's still the case, but for a while they were like the official rock band of the Army. Like I would go to see movies and you know how they have like the big like, you know, the proud, the few, the proud, the Marines or whatever.
I'm aware.
Yeah. So they would it would be that shit, but it would just be like, you know, night vision footage of people like running fake ops for the camera, like definitely not doing any real work, but just making it look like they're working, like they're filming a movie with like Three Doors Down over it, just like chunking around away on their guitars and just crooning about how it's great to be in the military or whatever. And then like a jet would fly over and some guy would just be like do it for your country, idiot. And it's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. Can I please just watch this Marvel movie? I want to see Fat Thor.
So I scrolled down from Rudy's My Pillow shilling, and like it proved that irony is dead. On September 20th, he posted a link to an article titled "Biden's Slide Towards Dictatorship." This is a man who, if he wasn't in the room for that 6-point memo about not letting 7 states have an electoral vote, he knew about the people in that room who had that meeting and got the message. And he's whining about Sleepy Joe being the guy who's going to turn America into a dictatorship. You were literally part of the coup, Rudy. You were literally there. I mean,
you were there at Four Seasons Landscaping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you fucking like? Can you imagine being so like slavishly devoted to someone that you are still just like, you know, Rudy Giuliani has to get on the internet and just be like, oh, like Biden's trying to turn this country into a dictatorship. You know who was super great? Donald Trump. And it's like, dude, Rudy, like you're looking mad desperate right now, dog. You're looking like the clingy ex that won't go away. Donald Trump has moved on. He gives no fucks about you. Like he has stopped giving you the money you need to battle your legal campaigns. He stopped paying for your $10,000 like hair and like oil treatment that keeps your face attached to your body or whatever. Like it's over for you. He's like, no, don't worry. Like one of these days I'll get rid of this. I could change him.
I guess he's like looking at like how Steve Bannon got back into Trump's good graces, Michael Flynn at one point. Like Trump was like planning out his second term, and he's like, I'm gonna bring back Michael Flynn, even though he was a convicted criminal. And then I had to pardon him for his crimes. I mean, Rudy's just hoping for that second act with Trump where he can just, baby, take me back. I mean,
there's no way. Trump cuts bait on people and they don't get to come back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, like, Mike did just list a couple of people that got to come back, but I don't think Giuliani's one of them because Giuliani just, what does he have to offer? Like nothing, right? Like he can't practice law anymore. He just doesn't do anything.
He's just Trump's buddy from the old times, who's just this weird New York guy who is a lawyer, kind of, but probably not for much longer allowed to legally do these kinds of things. Sadly, it appears that if we want Rudy to do the intro for our podcast on Cameo, we got to pay him $3,000. For a personal use video, we can get him for $400. So we can just lie to him. We can just tell him that when he does the intro for HellwQrld that this is personal, it's just for a friend and an inside joke we call Adventures in HellwQrld. Rudy's never going to know.
We did a crowdfund $3,000 so that we could get Rudy Giuliani to read like our bump for the Q&A segment. Be great.
Yuckers.
Because Q&A seems so innocuous that there's no way he would get it. He would just be like, yeah, sure. Like, this is America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani. And it's time for Q&A. We could just be like, fuck it, what a goon. We got it for the low price of $3,000.
Yeah.
America's mayor, like the Cowboys are America's football team.
Yes.
Yeah, except the Cowboys are actually worth something.
Yes. Yeah. You can't get Jerry Jones to do an intro for the podcast for $4,000 because that man actually has money. I just love that Rudy's on Cameo. He's just so desperate. He's just like, I'll say anything you want for $400. Anything.
It's so sad. It's just so.
Is it sad? I think it's hilarious.
I mean,
I think it's hilarious, and also fuck that guy. Like I continue. I want to watch him slide even more. I want him to die penniless and with almost no recognition. Like when he passes on from his advanced age, because I'm not gonna publicly say that I want him to die of anything other than advanced age. Like I want him to be like, you know, Nikola Tesla destitute, like living in like a single room apartment somewhere, just like clinging to his one pillow and his one my pillow and his one my towel, and just like, you know, that's how he drifts off into eternal sleep.
You think My Pillow's still gonna be around? I mean,
but I just trust that they make a good enough product that even if they're gone, the pillow will remain.
Although it may actually end up being a Dominion brand My Pillow, as it were, because because our boy Rudy, again, speaking of memos he may have been in the room for, we now also have a memo from the Trump campaign stating that they knew they were lying about Dominion and Smartmatic's voting machines being rigged or being against them in the election. And they still were saying these things after the fact, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me. That one of the things that like Mike Lindell and Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood and all these other just absolute dingbats have been really counting on is the fact that with the First Amendment and all this kind of stuff, it is so hard in America to win a Slibolander lawsuit. It's just so hard to actually say, hey, your free speech that the Constitution protects was so flagrantly bullshit and such an absolute violation that we are allowed to take money from you for the bad things you said. And
American Sniper lost one.
Yes.
After he died.
Yeah, again, and it takes work to do that. So it's so incredible that they actually managed to write down documents saying, hey, guys, we know we're lying about this. Like, actually lying about Dominion. And so, I don't know, maybe stop lying about them. And literally everyone was like, no, we are going to continue to lie about Dominion. We are going to file the Kraken lawsuit and all of this other nonsense. And just absolutely besmirch and defame Dominion and Smartmatic in the eyes of America, so that literally, if you're a Republican voter, you think these companies fucked you out of the election. I mean, and they knew it. They knew they were lying about it, which is so wild. I mean, they're trying. They're trying to find a way to lose one of these lawsuits, which I saw so many people on the internet being like, yeah, Dominion has a right to sue them, but it's really hard. They're probably going to lose. I mean, I don't fancy anyone's chances of winning a libel case in America. So good on you, Dominion. Good luck. But yeah, you're probably fucked. First Amendment, bitches. And now it's almost like the Trump campaign's like, how can we lose this lawsuit? Have memos proving that we're lying and we know we're lying? Okay, great. Let's write those down. Dominion did not cost us the election, but we're going to say it anyways. Signed, the Trump campaign. I mean, it's just, and timestamp it. Take a photo of the timestamp. Make sure everyone knows that we said this at exactly this moment in writing in one of our meetings. And then we went on the CNN and started screaming about Dominion costing us the election because they're fraudulent. I mean, it is so wild that they've done everything they possibly could to screw themselves over. They have actually made a paper trail of evidence for their opponents to use against them.
Oh, who's the?
I feel like if you, as the former president of the United States, like with the biggest platform possible for someone, essentially, like, you know, the side of, like, you know, some crazy influencer's Instagram or whatever. Like Kylie Jenner's Instagram has more reach than Donald Trump, but it's pretty close. I feel like if you could do that, and then these documents come out, and then you still somehow like can't beat it, like if Dominion somehow still can't beat Trump in court with like a libel case, then like, why the fuck do we even pretend like libel and slander are things that we like punish? Like, why even have those laws as a thing that people could try to litigate if it's just impossible to ever win them? Like, fucking just be like, hey, the First Amendment allows you to say whatever the fuck you want, whatever the fuck you want.
Right, exactly. I mean, this is gone from something that, to me, like Joe Layman, who has no idea how like these laws work, this has gone from me to being like, they probably won't win. This is a slam dunk. If they don't get $1 billion, I don't know what's what. So it's going to be so interesting to see how like they try to defend this. I've heard some people saying that, like, maybe Lin Wood wasn't in the room, so he didn't get the memo, so he doesn't know any better. But Sidney Powell was at the podium with these people a few times. I mean, she was absolutely around before, like, the inner circle of Trump's people were like, "Yo, Sidney Powell's a little too out there for us. Can you move her away? Can we push her aside a little?"
What's going on with her? Is she like disappeared into the background yet?
Oh no, she's just doing her thing. She's just grifting on Telegram, just yelling at everybody, being like, "Hey, look at all this fraud going on. You know how it is. Keep up with me. Give me money. I'm still fighting the good fight because we had so much election fraud and it's terrible. And look at the Arizona audits and all that good stuff." I mean, she's still like hustling. She has her Telegram handle is the greatest thing in the world because it's lightning bolt, American flag, Sidney Powell, American flag, Statue of Liberty. So she is just freedom and electricity, like you read about. She's all about these things. And she has a post from another grifter named Seth Keshel, who's just constantly posting bullshit about election fraud. He has a chart about obvious election fraud in Montana. Yeah, that Montana. That was really the deep state was working real hard to flip Montana to blue, as it were, because that was a thing that was very obviously something that could happen. It was possible.
With their what? 2 electoral votes?
Yeah. They don't even get 3. Montana's so small. The 3rd electoral vote every state gets, they don't get. They're like, nope, fuck you, Montana. You only get 2. Eat shit.
I mean, I didn't even know that. Are states mandated a minimum of 3?
You get electoral votes for every person in the national Congress you have. So you have 2 senators and 1 representative in even the smallest state. So that's why you get 3 in every state. So when you see like South Dakota,
yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and then if you like crunch it out, like California's actual power should be like around like 70 electoral votes instead of 55. But hey, fuck big states and fuck liberals, because white people in rural states should have more say over who the president is, because that makes a lot of sense. And 5-minute discourse about the Electoral College being bad, and we're back. Okay, great. So, my favorite thing about this little chart that Seth Keshel made is he has a little line for like where the liberal vote should have been in Montana, and then an evil, like higher moving line that where it actually was. And he's like, this is proof of fraud, because instead of getting 200,000 votes, the libs got like 230,000 votes.
I mean, a graph, and it's proof.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Observe my mighty graph.
Everyone knows how much L loves graphs and bars going up and
Oh,
numbers
dude,
going up.
you can prove anything with a sweet graph. I mean, I'm sure that having a graph is a good way to trick dumb people that otherwise might be immune to just being told a thing. Like if I just went up to you and I was just like, "Hey, man, like conservative males have lower testosterone than liberal males, like scientifically proven." People would be like, "That's bullshit." And I was like, "No, check this out." And if I pulled out a graph, even a graph that I just went to Kinko's and made, like based on no actual scientific data, and I was just like, "See, look at the graph." Some people might just be like, "Oh shit, like how do I get my T levels higher?" I'm just like, well, vote for Biden. Vote for Biden, and your balls will start churning immediately.
All you need to run a proper coup or grift is a graphics department. Do you have a graphics department? If not, get one. How else are you making your fucking graphs?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You just show someone a visual aid to represent the bullshit that you just said to them, and your brain gets hit with both audio and visual cues, and you're just like, oh, that has to be accurate. That has to be true. That's why all slot machines now, when you need like 3 ladders to trigger the mini game to win the big money, they give you 2 different ding noises for the first 2 ladders, so then you anticipate the third one and you don't get it. Now you need to hear that third ding, so you keep smashing the button and giving the slot machine your money because you're a barely evolved ape, and we are able to trick your brain into doing things to get the reward it's seeking. And we empty your pockets that way. There's like
there's no way that casinos are that manipulative. Get out of here.
You shut up.
Oh my god. My favorite thing in the gaming industry that I have learned in my many years there is there's actually a thing where they design games to have a proper slow rate of draining your money from you and giving it to the house. They don't want to take your money too quick. They can design a game and be like, shit, this game robs people too fast. We need to have a person have an enjoyable 2 or 3 hour losing session at the table. We don't want them to have a 20-minute losing session at the table. So we got to not take their money that quickly. And it's so insidious. Like, I think they call it burn rate. And it's just like, to just think of that kind of like thing where they're actually trying to calculate the proper way to like jack you in what is basically a slow moving robbery is truly
I hope
incredible.
that is in fact their official internal term for it, is burn rate. Just like, I just love the like, you could name that anything. You could name it fun rate.
Yes.
Like, but no, internally they're even just like, fuck it, it's the burn rate. It's the rate at which we manage to burn these people out into just like useless, penniless husks. And not like the fun rate.
There's that super old saying where they say you can boil a frog to death if you just turn the heat up slowly, so slowly that they don't notice.
Yeah. Oh god.
Is that a saying?
Yes.
What sort of monstrous place do you live in where that's a saying?
I think it comes from out your area.
From the liberal East Coast, you think is boiling frogs slowly?
Yeah, or maybe the South.
We don't even boil lobster slowly. We do that shit mad quickly.
Yeah.
Typing noise.
You want that pot to be ripping hot when you drop the little buggy boys in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The lobsters are insta dead when we throw them in the pot. Yeah.
It's an old fable.
Yeah, it's
apparently.
an old fable. Oh yeah. Oh, trust me, it's one of QAnon's favorite things to talk about how the liberals are slowly taking away your rights and that you are the frog and the pot is slowly coming to a boil.
Oh, do they? Of course, they would love it.
QAnon loves their boiled frogs.
The libs are slowly turning up the heat to boil these frogs. Might we interest you in this memo telling you how to undermine our own democracy? Fuck the libs. The libs are evil. Like, sign this petition to allow us to enact fucking like coup law and state an emperor like that's conservative. God, I just hate conservatives so much. Oh, there's just no. It's like I just don't have it in me to be funny about it. I just fucking hate their guts.
Yeah, because they're completely hypocritical. They stand for nothing other than the obtaining of power, and that's it. I mean, it's just everything you deal with when you just watch our politics going on. When Justice Scalia dies like 9 months before an election, they're like, "Hey, we can't have another Supreme Court justice until the American people have their say." And then Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies like 2 weeks before the election. They're like, "Boom, new justice, nailed it. Boom, Amy Coney Barrett on the court. Get fucked, libs. Boom, we did it. We win." It's just they don't care about anything. They don't care about how hypocritical they are. Nothing. They're just playing the game to win and consolidate power. And if you point that out, you're the bad guy. You're the meanie no person for being like, hey, wait a minute. Those guys are just doing everything they can to try to just turn America into a fascist dictatorship, because that's what they want right now, because they're very afraid of this younger generation of non-white people who really don't believe in God that much, changing shit in ways that make them sad. I mean, it's really, it's where we are. We have this like massive, like, the boomers were just around for forever, because every generation thinks the kids these days, they're so crazy with all the crazy stuff they're doing. I just can't.
With their fork knife and their Tic Tacs.
Yes, exactly. It's just that thing.
And their gender spectrum.
Yes, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, man, with their tolerance of people who aren't straight, sit Hess people. I mean, just all of that stuff. It's always been around, but the boomers have always had this oversized power in America, because they were this giant generation that was just able to throw its weight around. And now that the boomers are dying off and they're losing that demographic power, because they were just like, hey, there's more of us than there are of you. We'll just outvote you, you dumb young people. And now it's like, hey, wait a minute. Oh no, the young people are getting older, and they're still more tolerant. And us old people are now dead people. So it's like, fuck, no. So the boomers are just so desperate to grasp and cling to power any way they can.
Speaking of, no, finish your thing.
No, I'm just saying they're just so desperate to maintain the power that they've had their whole lives. Like, America has spent, like, basically since the 1970s, when the boomers were all in their 20s, since that time, we've been kissing their asses. We've been kissing the boomers' asses for like 50 years now. And now that Gen X and the millennials and Gen Z, now that we have, like, I would assume those 3 generations combined are now the majority over the boomers just can't handle it. They're just like, no, young people are now beating us in population. Unacceptable. We can't let them win elections now and, like, not hate non-white people. That's bad. It's just like, shut up.
But in the words of Matthew McConaughey, they'll keep getting older, and eventually that leads to death.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way this works. I mean, the younger generations are going to win, because they always do. And the thing that is cool for you is that at one point in your life, you will be part of those younger generations. The sucky thing is, at another point, you're going to be part of the older generations, and you're going to lose. And you're going to be mad at the world passing you by. God, I can't wait to be grumpy Mike Raines in my 60s, being all pissed off at the world and being mad at those kids doing their weird stuff on the TikToks.
Hey, I'll go ahead and put it here on digital wax for perpetuity. If I'm like 60 or whatever, and I'm shaking my fist at the younger generation, like, as long as they're liberal, in my heart of hearts, I'm cool with it. Like, I want this progressive wave that they keep trying to happen to come. Like, I want a 135-year-old Bernie Sanders to get elected to president of the United States, and I want him to give me a pony and forgive all my student loan debt.
That'd be great. I'll take it. I just want him to win. That'd be like my perfect dream. Is just, please just win, young people. Defeat the old people, because we need that. Because old people suck. It's just that's the meat space world I live in.
It's just scalding hot take.
And, you know, if it's the year 2051 and the progressive wave has crashed into America, and like the worst thing about my life is having to deal with people talking about how they're just like, yeah, like, I might be stuck in this human body, but I identify as a quadrillion, which is 4 different types of alien in one body. And I'm just like, all right, cool. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm dumb and fucking old and set in my ways. But at the end of the day, as long as liberal policy is the way of the world, then Fuck it, man. You live your best 4 alien life. That's fine.
We don't have a bump for it yet, but do we want to do the Delta Forest Reaper roundup?
No, we do have a bump for this. Hey, everybody, it's me, Rudy Giuliani, American Mayor. And it's time to see what dumbfuck conservatives got murdered by a preventable virus this week in our Reaper Roundup. Can I get my money now?
It's a good one. Clip that.
Yes. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So Laura Loomer is trying to not die from COVID, which was really hilarious.
Who is that? Was she vaccinated before she got it?
Who is that?
So Laura Loomer is a basically a QAnon adjacent kind of right wing provocateur. She's one of these people that whenever these events, whenever she's doing anything, some media agency will do a puff piece calling her a conservative firebrand, which firebrand just means piece of shit. That's actually what firebrand means whenever you read the term conservative firebrand. She when they were doing that, like that theater presentation of Julius Caesar, and they had Trump as Caesar being assassinated, like she ran on the stage and like screamed and yelled, and had a fit. When she got banned from Twitter, she handcuffed herself to the doors of Twitter's front office.
Oh, I remember her. Yeah. I remember that.
And the best part about it was she handcuffed herself to one door. So everyone was able to just go in and out of the building around her, and she actually didn't stop anything. Yeah, and she ran for Congress in Florida. She won the Republican primary in 2020, and then got smashed in the general election because it was an ultra blue district and no one serious wanted to run to get just stomped by the Democrat. So she did it so she could grift people for money and then whine about losing to voter fraud, because that's how these scammers always operate. But
the most important question is, was she vaccinated?
No, adamantly unvaccinated, never going to take the COVID death shot and all that other kind of stuff, and blah blah blah.
But I've got some bad news for her. It's coming. Oh yeah, get ready, Loomer. This is what happens. It's popping off.
Are you playing an Undertaker promo?
I just did a YouTube search for Reaper Bell.
That was great.
I thought you were gonna play an Undertaker thing, and I was like, I'm
not gonna besmirch the glory of famed WWF/WWE wrestler The Undertaker in our Laura Loomer segment.
Also, I feel like even for our tiny ass podcast, the WWE would still come for us.
Probably, but yeah. So sadly for those of people who really enjoy Schadenfreude, Laura appears to be spending her grift bucks on the Regeneron, so she's probably going to be fine in the long run here, because when you get on the high grade stuff, you tend to make it, as it were. So
I feel like if you have been unvaccinated for no good reason other than not wanting it to, like, medical professionals should be able to make you sign a document that says that you don't get any of the good COVID drugs. There's like, we need to save the good COVID drugs for people that got the virus that need it, like, because they couldn't get vaccinated, or they got vaccinated and it's a breakthrough case. Like, you unvaccinated, you do not get gene therapy or whatever. You do not get the Regeneron juice. No adrenochrome for you.
Yeah. She posted on her social media that she had not taken the vaccine and she plans on never taking it because it is unsafe and ineffective. And she was on hydroxychloroquine and athromycin, which looks like a different version of ivermectin, and also she's getting Regeneron. So yeah, so she's just like, don't take the vaccine to prevent all this shit from happening to you, but the moment you get it, just poison your body with every goddamn thing you can, and then also on top of that, use the real drug that actually works so you can not die. I just love the fact that these people are like, oh yeah, I got sick, so now I'm drinking paint thinner and attaching leeches to myself to drain the illness from me, and I'm also using modern medicine. I'm also on top of those things using the actual good stuff that doctors recommend on top of the pain thinner and the leeches. So when
I had some chronic illness or some chronic pain, and I went to go see my Reiki specialist. And after a few sessions with him pointing his palms at me and realigning my chakras, and also the morphine, I feel a lot better now. It's just oh man, you like
It's good to hear. I was worried about you.
Yeah, the Reiki. I mean, it's proof in the pudding. If you could find a Reiki specialist that's also legally trained to provide you with morphine, you should really go get it done.
I don't have any joke. I was gonna try to do a bit with and make up a name for your Reiki specialist, and I can't even think of a stereotype for what a Reiki specialist would be named.
I mean, honestly, at this point, probably Sean.
Yeah, Chet.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's just like, hey, welcome to HellwQrld. I'm Sean. I'm going to be the one realigning your energy today. So just sit back and let me charge you $200 an hour to wave my palms over you. And, the dumb fuck gullible idiots everywhere are just like, oh, yes, I can't wait to have you wave your palms over me. It's just like, okay, cool. Well, it's a good thing that you've got the money to blow on that while children are starving. That's fine.
yeah.
Anyway,
the placebo effect is very powerful. Don't discount.
That Laura Loomer story was kind of that's her name, right? Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
That Loopy Lupus story was kind of a bummer because she's taking Regeneron and is on the mend. Surely we have to have an uplifting story of someone who denied the vaccine and died.
Our boy Greg Prentice, a Florida GOP official who hated masks and all that other good stuff, he managed to actually buy the ticket and ride the ride, dying of COVID this week. On the headline from the Daily Beast, it claims people are saying that he was illegally intubated during his treatment for the COVID, as it were, because
legally intubated.
Yeah, because this is the thing: is that these people are totally bought into the Alex Jones idea that these hospitals are just putting you on the ventilator to kill you. That the COVID itself is, you're just you walk in the hospital, I got a little sniffle, coughing a little, I could probably, I don't know.
He's got a coffin.
Oh, yeah. But the Alex Jones world of this is that you just go into the hospital feeling a little run down, and then they're like, oh no, you have COVID. Oh no, we got to put you on a ventilator. And you're like, what? No. And then they sedate you, jam the ventilator tube down your throat, hit the button, and it just explodes your lungs and you die. And then the doctors collect $3,600 for putting you on a ventilator and killing you, because that kind of money is what I would need $3,600 to kill somebody. That's my hitman contract fee that I went to medical school for a decade for.
That's like Alabama trailer park assassin money.
Yes.
I could kill your ex-girlfriend for you. It's going to run you about $3,500. So it's just wow, that's it. I mean, thank goodness. I mean, especially because I'm never going to have to pay you because you're certainly going to get caught and arrested.
Yeah.
Remember, everyone, there are no assassins. It's always a cop.
Yes.
It's always a cop.
Yeah. So, but I just love the idea of the entire medical industry. You're running a hospital and you're just like, man, we need money. So it's how can we get money? Just kill people and the government will cut you a check. And nobody looks into it. No one's like, hey, wait a minute, hospital, you've had this hospital over here who's not using the ventilators. Their COVID mortality rate is 7%. You guys are using the ventilators and your mortality rate is 45%. Can you draw any conclusions there? Nope, no idea. We're just getting the bad COVID cases, I guess. It just dims the brakes. It's just...
All the people that say that he was illegally intubated, they know that he had COVID. They're just of the mind that if his breathing tube wasn't supposed to fill up with lung juice, then God wouldn't have made that happen to him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're to the point where they need to intubate you, it's not illegal because you're unconscious. They don't typically intubate conscious people, so they had like the legal imperative to do it. Like, we don't even need to split hairs here.
Yeah.
Like, once he becomes conscious, he can say, "Hey, take this tube out of my mouth." Except he can't because he has a tube down his throat.
Yeah.
So he'll write it on an Etch-a-Sketch because
He can say,
yeah, he can write it on an Etch-a-Sketch because he's a dumb baby idiot who's now in a coffin.
I think he's saying that Biden won the election.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the nut quote in this thing is friend Jason Campbell blames Tampa General Hospital for the 61-year-old's death, alleging staff illegally intubated him. My public comments are going to be about Tampa General Hospital. There's a dire situation going on right now that I don't think anyone is aware of, and I have firsthand knowledge of it. They're intubating everybody entering the hospital as a first line of action. They're using fatality treatment protocol. And I think the city council really needs to do an investigation. When you call 911 and go to the hospital, you're going into a bad situation.
Yeah, sorry. Like, I think I may have like sprained or broke my finger playing some Ultimate out on the quad. Is there anything? And then they just shove a tube down your throat. Oh no!
No!
That's just what they're doing. You walk through the doors there. There's just like a nurse practitioner sitting there, just like with a tube in her hand, just like slapping it against their palm. Just like, oh, you better believe that's an intubation. Yeah, because I'm sure all these doctors and nurses and whatnot, I'm sure all these medical professionals really love having to force tubes down people's throats so that they can continue to live, or in a lot of cases, just die anyway. So. Man, what another great uplifting segment of the Reaper Roundup. Quickly becoming my favorite part of the show.
We do need to get a bump for it.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, anybody out there that's listening, if you have deep pockets and you're going to cut us a $3,000 check so we can pay Rudy Giuliani to do our Reaper Roundup. Until then, you're just going to have to deal with knockoff Rudy Giuliani.
Man, if I write that script, it's going to get real weird. Speaking of things we have bumps for, give me that mailbag bump.
Our listeners got questions, we got answers. It's time for Q&A.
Okay, so it's time to hit ye old mailbag, and we open up with Jen Grant asking, and we have a million questions this week, by the way, so if we don't get to all of them, I do apologize. But Jen Grant opens by saying, can you tell us about how the Rothschilds tie into the conspiracy death cult? The answer to that question is anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I know the answer here.
Yeah,
anti-Semitism.
Yeah, pretty much the Rothschilds were just a wealthy Jewish family, and that makes them the bad guys of just about every story. Going down the whole the Jews rule the world bullshit universe. The fun thing that happened in the ancient times, back when people took religion really seriously, was that both Christians and Muslims were prohibited by their faiths from charging interests on loans, which made it so that like what we call modern banking couldn't happen. So one thing led to another, and the Christians and the Muslims figured out that the Jews didn't have any godly prohibitions on charging interest on loans, so they let the Jews run the banks so that they could actually have the economy work. But then they resented the Jews for running the banks because now I got to pay these Jewish people money on this loan I took out from them. And that's bullshit. So basically the Jews got put into this job due to silly religious law rules. And then they were resented for being in that role after the fact. So that is pretty much kind of where the whole Jewish people are obsessed with money. They're cheap, they're rich, they have all that stuff. That's where all of that stuff came from. And then over the course of centuries, you then had like the blood libel, where Jewish people like slaughtered children for their blood, for their evil rituals, which became adrenochrome, etc., etc. And you also have in the Bible one of the books, it's either Matthew or Mark, I can never remember this off the top of my head, but in one of the books, only one of the four, Pontius Pilate is just like, yo, I ain't killing this guy. Like, this is a you guys call. And the crowd of Jewish people that wants Jesus to be killed is like, his blood be upon us and the blood of our children. Like, all of us, we accept blame for killing Jesus. So even in the Bible, there's just this thing where it's like the Jews are the bad guys. And when that got written, Christianity was this weird offshoot of Judaism that like 7 people believed in and nobody cared about it. And the Jewish people were the big monotheistic faith of the world, even though they were very tiny and everybody was worshiping pantheons. And then cut to like thousands of years later, and it's like, wow, that quote in the Bible is aggressively punching down because like Christians rule the world now, and the Jewish people are an incredibly tiny minority.
All right, I'm going to cut you off on 4 minutes of talking about the origins of anti-Semitism because this was about the Rothschilds.
Okay, done. But yeah,
What's our next question?
The next question is Galaxy Brain asks, I want to know what happened to the packet captures. Is that all forgotten about and Dennis Montgomery has struck again? The funny thing about this
it all starts a couple of thousand years ago when the Jews killed Jesus.
Yes. L's dead on. Exactly right.
We're gonna do it with like a comedy club, and we're just gonna have a red light that I have we have a button for here,
yeah.
way over Mike's studio. I'm just beep, beep, beep. All right.
Yeah. I need it. But the funny thing about the packet captures is that everybody else ran away from them, and everybody else is like, Dennis Montgomery's a bad dude. Don't associate with him. It was a huge mistake for Mike Lindell to do that. But when you talk to Mike Lindell about the packet captures, he's still like, solid, rock solid evidence that I have. The whole ball game is over once I validate these things, which I personally have already validated. I just need somebody else to believe it. But yeah, so like Mike Lindell is the guy who refuses to acknowledge he's been catfished. Like all of his friends are like, dude, that's not a real chick on the internet. Like she's just taking all your money. She said she was going to fly out to Los Angeles like 3 weeks ago. She never did. Get over it. And you're like, no, man, she's real, and I really love her. We're going to be together, man. I just got to send her another $500 for rent. And it's just like,
years ago, when my father first got his Facebook, he did the thing, that people do. He went and found old friends from high school and this and that. And then he goes, Sarge, why am I getting a friend request from this woman I've never met and I have no friends in common with? And I look over at his computer and I was like, that is what we call a bot, and you need to just delete it. And yeah, Mike Lindell never met a bot or a catfish he didn't like.
Yeah, I got a message like a couple of days ago from someone who wanted to donate like $5 million to a charity and needed my help in that process. And I was just like, give it to love146.org. No problem. And they were like, thank you because you could just tell the bot was like, oh my God, someone engaged with me. Next line of bot script. And then I was like, okay, bot, this is no longer fun.
Have you gotten the podcast scam emails yet?
I have not. Oh God, I can't wait to.
I told you about the binge-worthy podcast scam email we got, right?
Nope.
They said we're like some made up number 17 in Papua New Guinea.
Oh,
they said binge-worthy. They were like, hey, we want to get in on the ground floor of this. You guys on binge-worthy, you're doing something. You're number 17 in Papua New Guinea. And I was like, if this is fake, God bless you. So weird. And it's definitely fake. But if this is real, good for us. We're big in the PNG.
Yes.
Yeah, the only reason that Mike Lindell hasn't donated any money to Nigerian princes is because he's like, Nigeria, ugh.
Yeah. We here at HellwQrld and Bingeworthy are excited to be big in Nigeria and Papua New Guinea.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we've said it on Bingeworthy before, and we'll say it here. If we're blowing up in Papua New Guinea and you're one of our many listeners from there, go ahead and send us a communique via Twitter so we know that it was not a scam and we are in fact just getting crazy PNG traction.
Yeah, let us know which episode you like the best. Oh boy,
that Varsity Blues episode went over so crazy in Papua New Guinea you wouldn't even believe.
They're just getting it there now. It's like Eastern Europe.
Yeah, that's why we're blowing up overseas, is because like movies to us that are 20 years old are just making it there now because of streaming, and they're just like, oh shit, this Varsity Blues. They're just like, yeah, we love it. Like, I don't want your life, remember? It's just like, yeah, good for you, man. And your English is pretty good, so rock on. Anyway, next question.
Yeah.
Heartbridge asks about the crossover appeal of Mike Liddell and Jim Baker. They also brought up the Eastman memo, which we covered. Uh, Christianity and QAnon are just peas in a pod. Like Q themselves, leaned hard on the religious aspect of this whole thing, constantly talking about how we're fighting Satan and we are on God's side and all that kind of stuff. Which it was really weird that a guy on the Chan boards could be that, aggressively pro Christianity and still get over, because Chan boards are just supposed to be hardcore edgelords who are all atheists and stuff. So it was very surprising to me that Q didn't get derided for being so aggressively about God and Jesus and all that kind of stuff. Because again, that's usually a demographic where that doesn't play. But also that Illuminati New World Order stuff, that kind of thing is something where you do have to do the God versus devil paradigm to make it really pop. You have to be on the side of this one big force battling the other big force, because otherwise these conspiracy theories end up being kind of like Call of Cthulhu, where you're just going to lose. The other side, the bad guys are too powerful, too ancient, too evil, and you can't even win.
The bad guys are the ancient spirits of evil?
Yes.
Does that mean Mumra is in charge of... Well, I guess Mumra worked for the ancient spirits of evil, but Mumra
he was the ancient spirits of evil's gopher.
Yeah.
And if Mumra's here, does that mean we're going to get Mutt?
I was thinking more along the lines of Ramatet, but I was just
Oh no! Gotta have mom mutt. I mean, dogs are big.
Yes.
Dogs are huge on the internet right now. If Mumra had an Instagram where he just posted cute pictures of mom mutt, he would have just 1.4 million followers. Just by the fact that every other post would just be can't wait to peel the flesh off of Lionel's bones, but also look at Mama's cute little belly. It's just okay, cool. 250,000 likes in 20 minutes.
What, Skeletor's cat was just named Panther? That's so lame.
I didn't even remember Skeletor had a cat. Wasn't it a huge one though? Big battle-worthy animals don't count. Mumra had a tiny actual pet.
Yeah, but I mean,
he had a little collar and everything.
Did Mama have a big evil form?
Maybe. It was a cartoon from the 80s. I'm sure if at some point they wanted to sell a big evil Mama toy, that they would just Mumra was just in order to capture the sword of omens, I need a much larger dog. And then, but for the most part, he was just there being this mummy's little buddy, which is just a ridiculous thing. Cartoons used to be so much weirder back in the day.
Yeah, I'm enjoying a bunch of the new remakes because they have to address how weird these things were.
And scene. Anyway, we should probably get back to our political podcast.
Hey. So, the Ghost of Dipset asks, is Julian's rum gone for good? In parentheses, as far as you can tell. Are there any other prominent Q posters that have just packed up and disappeared? Julian's rum apparently was busy saving the world up until he got that puppy, and now that puppy is his life, and he's just done. Yeah.
You did it that time.
Yeah. The thing, I wouldn't say that I've seen any major QAnon promoters leave, but I have seen a bunch of them sort of take time off, not really post a lot anymore. One guy I love kicking around, beer at the parade, that guy shows up once a month now. Joe M, who was the biggest promoter back in the day, he makes posts once a month being friends, we have turned the tide. The Joe M is the most overwrought, melodramatic diva you could ever imagine, and it's just so obvious how much of a tryhard he is of all the stuff he writes. And now that the forward momentum of Trump and actually anything ever happening is gone, he just doesn't have it in him to do the daily grind. Literally, he just shows up once a month, tries to write a really inspiring stem winder, and then just calls it a day. So I think that really what you see from it is the people that are making money off this shit, they ain't going anywhere. The people that are just getting the internet fame from it, it becomes a work. It becomes an actual like, kind of job you're not getting paid for, and you're not getting that lib owning that you were so like totally in favor of. Now you have to watch Grandpa Joe on the television talking about stuff.
Hey, they need to suck it up, Buttercup. We ain't getting paid for this. We just talk into cans to each other every week for over a year. We're not making a dime off of this.
Hey, don't sell us that short. We do have some wonderful, beautifuler babies that are throwing some money into our proverbial hat.
Yeah,
We're getting several dimes off of this.
Yeah, we're getting paid a tiny amount, which we reinvest almost exclusively into equipment to try to make the podcast sound less like shit.
We do. We appreciate it. We'll get to that because we hit a milestone.
Yes. So, Elizabeth asks, I just started listening and would like to know more about what I need to know about is who are the Q influencers, so many from other countries, and what happened to them. The HBO documentary covered a lot of it, but it feels unfinished. Also, can Jim or Ron be brought up on charges? I don't think they can actually be brought up on charges because one of the things that like QAnon...
they can be brought up on fashion charges. Have you seen that hat? Have you seen that fucking mustache? Like at some point, RuPaul's Gestapo is going to fucking drag them fools away. That you're never going to see him again.
Yeah. I really don't think that like they can really. One of the things they love to say was that QAnon never promotes violence. Q never promoted violence, and that's one of the things that's really kind of true. Is that Q always kind of said, we're going to arrest these people and bring them in the military tribunals and all that other stuff. Q never told anybody to go out and shoot anyone or do anything like that. So
he just winked and nodded at the camera.
Yeah, Q made it clear. Q was like, look, you guys want all the liberals to be killed, and at some ill-defined point in the near future, I will kill all the liberals for you, but I will do it legally and above board. So please do not go out there and violently kill the liberals yourselves. Just trust that the liberal killing will happen in the near future by my hand. So that is, and that's like really like weird and sick and stupid, but that was the mentality. And like Q made a bunch of posts about how like we got to do this according to the law, we got to have the evidence, we got to have it all hold up. And it's funny how no one ever holds Q to the standards that Q held themselves to. Like no one's ever like, okay, Q, when are you going to bring that lawsuit with the rock solid evidence that's going to just tie this whole thing together? And so that's just.
I mean, how much clearer could he make it? He posted that video about we're not going to take it, and it obviously meant that he wasn't going to take it to court. He gave up.
Ultimate Q proof. That is
pretty soon. We're going to be coming up on the 1 year anniversary of Q fucking all the way off. It's great.
Yes.
Is that next month or November?
December.
Damn it!
It's coming to the back half of the year, but we're creeping up on it. We're going to get 1 year anniversary of Q fucking off into January and February's PlayStation 5 releases that everyone is looking forward to, despite the fact nobody can find a PS5.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, I can't wait for the 1 year anniversary of Q fucking off, and also the new Horizon Zero Dawn game.
Yeah, that no one gets to play. We'll have to do something actual special for Q fucking off for a year. I don't know what yet. We got some time to brainstorm that.
Maybe we can make Mike Raids go through and find the juiciest, cherriest Q drops, so we could do a vintage Adventures in HellwQrld where we do a little postmortem on some Q drops. It's been a while.
Oh, I'm absolutely down for that. Don't threaten me of a good time. So, as for like where QAnon promoters are at the moment, I mean, there's just so many of them. It would be really hard to really get into depth on that. So maybe I'll try to like come up with like a grifter of the week segment or something where we talk about like some random guy or gal who's been scamming people for money and what they're doing, what their operation is. But until then, I'll have to put a pin in this question because I'll talk way too much about it and Sarge will hit me with the red light.
But before Sarge hits you with the red light, a spin-off question that we don't need to spend too much time on, but honest question, do you think there are QAnon specific or even QAnon adjacent OnlyFans sites? Go.
I would have to say yes. I haven't seen them, but that seems like a niche that would absolutely have something to be fulfilled. I had talked about it previously about that crazy guy, chief police 2, who literally had a Patreon that was getting like $5,000 a month, where he was just publishing a kill list of enemies of Q that had been arrested, cloned, assassinated, or tried for their crimes. And people just needed that list like blood. So I think if you had list of people Q is secretly executed plus some level of nudity from an attractive lady, you could really bring in the bucks, as it were.
Okay, so I found a online dating advice article from 2 years ago, and it has the 13 best free conservative dating sites. Number one is
I'm not looking to date.
Match.com.
I want to see a sexy, probably blonde, probably white lady in a MAGA hat showing me the goods, because where we come one, we come all.
Christian Mingle. Christian Mingle's probably your best bet. Conservative only.
I can't believe Sarge just crushed that joke. That was actual gold, L. That was actual gold. And Sarge,
I've known Sarge for long enough where it doesn't matter how good or bad my jokes are. Sarge just has a one-track mind of just plowing through them.
Yeah.
So whatever, but yes, dear listeners, if you're out there and you know of the precious QAnon focused OnlyFans account that we are talking about, go ahead and drop us a little linky loo on the Twitter.
We will use your Patreon money for that.
Yes.
Yeah, you will know that 3 men will be jerking off thanks to your contributions.
Oh God, I'm so glad we've gone down this dark road. Reverend Xenofact asks, do you see any boundaries between the GOP, QAnon, anti-vax, and the Kraken-style conspiracy theories? Because I ain't seeing much light between these things. This is the problem for the Republican Party, is that all of the other things you listed are one thing. Because QAnon is what I call a grand unifying conspiracy theory, where if you believe in any bullshit, QAnon pulls you into the crowd and you're not part of the crowd. 9/11, QAnon, JFK, QAnon, chemtrails, QAnon, anything.
Oh, you didn't know? Bigfoot totally pilled.
Right, exactly.
You wouldn't even know. Bigfoot fucking hates Hillary.
Yes.
Bigfoot is an extra dimensional being who has come here to pill you.
Yeah, Bigfoot has the Hillary face carving video in his cave. So when we find Bigfoot, we will finally have the evidence of Hillary flaying that young girl and drinking her blood with Huma Abedin. So we will finally be saved once we obtain Bigfoot.
Mothman, super liberal. He's on our side. You know, even from West Virginia, he rose above growing up in West Virginia. Super liberal. He's very woke.
Mothman, he doesn't like Manchin, but he knows that we're not getting another Democrat in the seat. So It is what it is.
He holds his nose and votes for him. That's just the way it is. Have
you guys read Mothman's blog? That dude, he makes some pretty fucking good points.
No, I'm a mod on his subreddit.
We butt heads when it comes to whether or not we should be supporting Bernie, because I still think that Bernie can't win the election, but Mothman, he's fucking progressive. That boy.
Mothman. I just woke Mothman is now the greatest invention of this podcast. I'm all in on it.
But it's at some point when we need to make merch, we're gonna dig through the back catalog in our minds and remember that we did a bit about woke Mothman. We're just gonna have like a Mothman with fucking tweed patches on his jacket, just like a fucking riding with Biden bumper sticker or whatever, just hanging out. That's gonna be a shirt we sell. It's gonna be great.
Our Discord server is going to be weird if we ever do one of those.
Yeah. So, but the GOP, the problem for them is that this is a section of their base. I don't know how big it is, but that they have no way to really argue against. They can't tell these people get vaccinated. Hillary Clinton doesn't drink the blood of children. The election wasn't stolen. I mean, in 2016, Donald Trump literally won the Republican nomination for president by saying, I can make Mexico pay for a wall that we are going to build, that they don't want. Like, I'm going to tell you a pleasing lie, an absolute nonsense fantasy. And the Republican primary voters were like, yes, I enjoy your dumb fantasy, Donald Trump. I will vote for you. And none of the people running against Trump could be like, yo, look, like Trump actually can't do that. He can't build a wall and he can't make Mexico pay for it. It's bullshit. He's fucking lying to you. No one could say that and win votes. Like, just literally aggressively lying about the dumbest possible shit is how you win a Republican primary now. So the Republican Party is totally fucked in that sense that they're just untethered from reality. And they're only making their base more crazy as time goes on. My final little point on this is that in 2008, when McCain was running against Obama, and some old lady in the crowd was just like, hey, John McCain, Obama's a Muslim. And McCain was like, no, he isn't. He's a good dude. Like, I've hung out with Senator Obama. He's a great man. And the crowd was just like, boo! Like, the crowd wanted McCain to say Obama was a Muslim. Republicans have been just brainwormed for so long, and then Donald Trump came along and was like, I will flatter your brainworms. I will humor them. I will tell you whatever your brainworms want to hear to get your vote. And the brainworm primary voter voted overwhelmingly in favor of Trump. And that's just where one of our two major political parties in America are now.
It's because the chupacabras work for the cartels, and they are letting all the rapists into our country. And where do you think Trump got that from? The chupacabras.
Yeah, and the Loch Ness Monster, surprisingly, fake. I mean, think about it.
Wow.
How can an animal that big just live in the loch? I mean, get real.
There's no way. There's no way.
Just get real. What is it eating? Anyway, thanks for the question. Yeah, Scotsman.
Yeah. So again, I apologize that we had a million questions this week. So if we didn't get to your question this week, next week, get your question in sooner. Because literally, when I posted the thread, I had one question for like 5 hours, and then suddenly everyone was like, "Boom, question time! Let's just drench the podcast in questions."
Well, Mike, then how about you stop burning podcast time apologizing and just ask another question?
Okay, well, I'm going to just ask our question in numerous, which is, what are you guys looking forward to?
I started but have not finished. I can't even remember what it's actual. Is it Visions? Star Wars Visions? Is that what it is? The anime, like little anime Star Wars mini episodes thing. They dropped the whole kit and caboodle for it on Disney Plus today. And I'm not like the biggest Star Wars fan or the biggest weeb, but I do think that that's like a pretty cool intersection of stuff. So I watched the first few episodes, and I think a couple of them were pretty good, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of them. And also tomorrow, I believe some friends and I are getting together to start the slightly longer than a month-long tradition of getting together to watch spooky movies, because it's spooky season. And I'm gonna have another opportunity to watch some all-time classics like Hellraiser and The Fly, the 1985 version or whatever.
Nice.
Yep. And Sarge, what do you got on tap?
I started playing for the first time in forever an actual, honest to God, point and click adventure game, a la kind of like King's Quest and stuff. There's a new one out called Unavowed. I actually think it's been out for a year or two. It's new. It's fully voiced, and I'm having a ton of fun. I forgot how much I enjoyed those things. I played a bunch as a kid, and I quit Magic the Gathering cold turkey because instead of playing new games or other things, I would just sign on to it online. So I quit that, and I've actually played 2 new games already, and I've enjoyed them both. The other one is Gears Tactics, and that's been a lot of fun. But I played a honest God point and click adventure game, and it's been a blast. I got to electrify a weird monster elemental thing with stuff I found out of a dumpster, and before I figured out how to do that, it ate my character's face off every time I approached it. So
You should try Kentucky Route Zero once you're done with Unavowed. I've heard that it's sort of like it's got that sort of old school adventure style sort of theme, but it was like a critical darling back when it came out, and
I
now
remember hearing about it. Yeah.
The complete edition is available even on the Switch at this point, so it's like super easy to pick up and play. I haven't played it yet, but it's been on my my radar of things I could potentially purchase and tuck into. So if you're gonna go down that sort of rabbit hole, you should play Kentucky Route Zero. Tell me how it is.
Yeah, I will do that, and I'll check back in with you guys on Unavowed because I haven't played a ton, but I've had a lot of fun so far.
So for me, I'm on vacation this week for the first time in forever. I'm just going to crank up the air conditioning in my house and just live in an igloo for a week and just enjoy just not having to deal with the outside world. Actually having a weekend off for the first time in forever, because when you work in the casino industry, you're working when everybody else isn't working. So I actually get to watch the UFC pay-per-view this week. I don't have to worry about working during football. So I will now extend an invite to L if he wants to go to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch football on Sunday. That's a possibility. Just actually having some free time when the rest of the world has free time is just going to be very fun and exciting for me. And I will also probably be finishing up Hades. I think I've made it out of hell 8 or so times now, and I've been told you got to get out 10 times before you kind of complete the main story, as it were. So
Jen is indeed this story.
Yeah, the kids call it triggering credits at this point. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the full end of the game, but it does give you the credit roll.
Aha, sounds cool. I cannot wait to see the credits.
Nice. Have you unlocked any of the additional legendary weapons?
I've unlocked the aspect of the spear. I can't remember the name of that, and I just unlocked the sword as the
Guan Yu.
Yeah, Guan Yu. I've unlocked the sword of Arthur now. So
nice. I won't tell you the other ones because
I remember Chaos told me the I haven't talked to the shield, but Chaos told me the unlocking for the shield, but I haven't spoken to it yet because I just forgot to do so.
And I already told him the secret aspect name for the adamant rail. So
the aspect of Lucifer sounds so awesome.
It is weird to use. Check back with me. I'm like, me and Elle hit Hades real hard, and we're actually Elle had a higher score than me, but I think I had the fastest time, and then I don't know who had the highest heat.
I think I jacked out around between 14 and 18 heat. I can't remember exactly how much.
I got the first statue, which I don't remember how much heat that is. So,
anyway, that's enough Hades talk for one go round.
Hades corner.
And with that, it's time for us to all lace up our roller skates, and for me to lead our Midnight Express up out of HellwQrld or Starlight Express, not Midnight Express. Damn it!
Get it together. Pay the price.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm just not that hip on my failed musicals from 1984 or whatever, so I sort of biffed that reference. Anyway, time to skate out of here. Thank you all so much for listening. It is time for a little bit of shilling, but I will try to make it as painless as possible. We thank you, as always, for supporting the show. If you'd like to continue to do so, you can do that in an easy and free way by telling a friend or giving us a 5-star rating or hitting the I endorse this button on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us through. If you have some money and you would like to support us monetarily a bit so that we can pay for conservative OnlyFans accounts, you could do so by going to patreon.com/pokerpolitics and supporting us there. You can do so for as little as $2, but if you support at $5 or above, you become one of our beautifuler babies and get access to all of our sweet bonus content, including series such as Kabbalin, The Foulest Deed, Mike Rain's Untitled History podcast, and other projects that are going to be forthcoming, such as Sarge's Conspiracy Corner. We do have a wonderful, beautifuler baby that has joined the crew this week by the name of Tin Can Hitman. So thank you so much, Tin Can Hitman, for your support. You are number 5 out of our 5 barrier that we had set for us doing a binge-worthy Adventures in HellwQrld crossover on White Squall called Where We Go One, We Go Squall. So look forward to that in the near future. And thank you, all of our beautifuler babies, for your support. If you have money and you don't want to give it to us and you want to do a little good in the world, you can donate that money to love146.org, whose vision is the end of child trafficking and exploitation. That's a direct quote for them, and it sounds pretty good to me. There are some people we need to thank for helping out with the show, including DJ Minimal Effort, who has provided our wonderful intro music. He is still too cool for social media, but we like to shout him out every week just as a way to put a little positivity in the universe for our good friend, Mr. DJ ME. Our voice of Q when we need it, but more often heard as the person in charge of our bumps and our content warning, is our good friend Frosty, who's a voiceover artist that you can find on Twitter at FrostyVO. If you can't get enough of my sweet, sweet dulcet tones or the dulcet tones of Sarge, well, then I've got good news for you. We have a spin-off podcast where we do even more talking about pop culture, if you can believe it. It's called Bingewordy, BINGEWORDY, and you can find that wherever podcasts are provided. We are currently wrapping up Sports Timber, and we will be talking about the movie Creed for this week's episode. So if you'd like to follow along and maybe support us on our spin-off podcast, you can find us there, and you can find us on Twitter at Bingewordy. So, thank you once again for listening to the show. As always, I have been your host, HellwQrld, signing off for HellwQrld Sarge and our expert in all things QAnon, Mr. Mike Rains. Good speed, Patriots!